Yeah. So let's see. This is EvilTreeSock in the Gorizia. Now this is the ship that you could have gotten with the armory exchange. Although she was obviously released prior to. And I actually have a video review of it. Alright, so, in any case.
I have it. I don't remember from where. It might have been my ultimate reward for the 4th season of the PT back in the time.
So, the Gorizia was a free ship. Let me turn this down a little bit. Gorizia was a free ship. I don't remember the event. Might have been the original dockyard at Puerto Rico, but
no, I think
you see, I was right. It was the Puerto Rico dockyard ship. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, it was. I did the original dockyard. It was a nightmare.
Me too. It was easy.
Well, because I didn't play it as much, so it's like I really had to come on for the bare minimum of time that I had available to actually do this, and I'm like banging in my
head. I did get 2 boosters though.
Though, admittedly, this was a time before you had to monetize a few of your phases just to get a premium ship, like a higher tier for cheaper than you normally would have on Armory.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that I was visiting family over the Christmas holiday, I probably would have just ground it out normally, because that's back when I was playing the game like crazy. So
it was an insane grind without buying the boosters.
Mm-hmm.
It was the only dockyard you could actually complete without paying money for.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what people forget, right? Like, oh, it was so much grind. But these days, you always have to spend money. And it's the same amount of money that it would have cost you the first 2 boosters in the original dockyard, at which point it was almost trivial to complete it.
That's right. And, I mean, the community complained, and Wargaming changed it. Honestly, the problem was Wargaming didn't properly explain how it was going to work.
They made it so, yeah.
One of my best videos was actually just walking through how to use the spreadsheet and me demonstrating, like, you can do this, it only costs you this much, and people, like, were freaking out. You're telling me I have to buy 3 boosters for this amount of money? It's like, no, you don't, unless you know, don't want to play much. Did I get the Puerto Rico for free? No, I did not. I grounded out just like everybody else.
Let's get back to his Gorizia game.
Yeah, big thing that Gorizia has that other Italian cruisers is that long-range hydro. Honestly, the range of the hydro surprised you during this match. Okay, so let's see. What is the hydro? That is 6 kilometers.
5. Oh, 6, eh?
She's German, so it's basically a German hydro on an Italian cruiser.
Except no German ship gets 6 kilometer hydro at tier 7.
None of them do, so she actually has a very good hydro. Though the one downside is, unlike her sister ship, she does not get torpedoes.
That's correct. So we're going to see, I think, the hydro come into place here in just a few moments. And I think you're going to surprise, you're going to surprise the Benson in the process.
It makes total sense. Like, for one, nobody expects 6 kilometer hydro.
And you got Cincinnati. Good job.
And the second part is, Gorizia is not a ship you see very often, so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people don't even know that it has hydro, no matter the range.
The really good thing about being a tier 7 with a 6 kilometer hydro is you have very little to contend with, at least in terms of radar. Sure, you have a few tier 7s that have radar, and then you have a few tier 8s that have radar, but in a tier 7 bracket, you're not really inclined to see a whole bunch of radar, meaning there's times where you can take your exhaust smoke, push, and then hydro spot things, and you can absolutely have your way with just about any destroyer.
That's right.
And you get your spotter plane so you aren't actually blind yourself while you lose the smoke. So,
Albigetes, thank you very much for the follow, by the way. The other thing, too, is the Gorizia has very nice guns. These are heavy cruiser guns, so you can easily get on the side of cruisers and Citadel slap them, which is very handy. So yes, like Hujam says, this is a really good ship for ranked battles.
It's also very nice having that Italian rudder ship because they are very nimble cruisers.
Mm-hmm. I want to mention too, this is really good matchmaking for you. We didn't talk about the course of the battle, but there's only 2 battleships that can potentially smack you. You're probably not going to get slapped by cruisers. You could, probably not. And then you've got the destroyer and the subs to deal with too. So this is really good matchmaking for you.
The Cherbourg is the only
Queen Elizabeth that doesn't even smack him really hard.
Right, and the Cherbourg is a threat. That's true, but he's dead now, so.
Yeah, no, the Cherbourg was the only thing that you really had to stay frosty of in terms of cruisers, because despite the fact that you were an Emerald, one good shot from him would absolutely ruin your health, but he's out, so. And there's absolutely no radar, so your Hydro is really effective in tandem with your smoke here.
Right.
Nobody expects past them. It's probably the thing, right? Because a tech tree... No. I don't want to say anything wrong. Do the tech tree Italian cruisers have Hydro?
No.
Nope.
Yeah, no, they don't, right? So yeah.
No.
They just
People
have
are
a
not
sauce
familiar
displays
with an
differently.
Italian ship having Hydro. Makes total sense.
You gotta go? Alright, Cookie. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.
Guys, stop doing this. What
Doing
this
what?
enemy get is doing. It's
Which
a
is what?
standard battle. You got through to the cap, but it takes you 3 minutes to cap. You will never ever going to be able to cap this out.
No.
It's not gonna work. Just stop doing it.
See, I do it all the time, but the difference, though, is that I don't sit in the cap to try to actually get the cap. I do it to try to get the team to turn around and deal with me.
Good
I mean,
job
look
again
at the
choosing
setup.
that.
Look at the setup. Look at how many enemies are left versus how many friendlies are left, right? So, like, you know, could that have gotten the Tone to turn around, the Atago, the group that's pushing you, maybe? So, you know, that's why I would have done that at Negata. But like I said, I wouldn't have just sat there.
It's actually kind of funny, because I've done it in a submarine, where particularly the S-189, because you have that stupid long dive capacity and the fact that you are faster than most other subs underwater. I'll proc the cat for a little bit, let people figure out that the sub is there, and then once people have figured out, I'll dive under, turn around, and just head home. And they're busy pursuing me up north, thinking I went up north.
Right, that's what I mean. Like, you can play mind games that way.
Submarine, but in a destroyer, you're not gonna be able to do that.
Eco 52, thanks for the follow.
In a destroyer, you basically have to run on the flank that's pushed out further. That's what you have to do to pull as many of the enemy as you can away. Because you're effectively, at that point, either gonna cap and win the game, or become the biggest distraction on the board.
Right. And I'm all for distraction.
Like, that's the one time being so grossly out of a cap, like, far away, is actually productive.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, right? How long did this get spent to get there? Like 7 minutes? 6 minutes?
Not on this map. It's a very small map.
I mean, look at the battle timer right now. We're 8 minutes in. He's dead for like 2 minutes, so he spent 6 minutes to get there. If he spent this 6 minutes to be on one of the flanks and help the team there, maybe that flank wouldn't have collapsed.
Yeah, no, that was his mistake. Trying to go for the cap and actually try to cap it rather than either making a play for the team.
So now EvilTreeSock is turning around. I think you're very fortunate that the rest of your team has smashed through that flank, because the Amagi is not even paying attention to you. So this allows you to just kind of do whatever the heck you want. You're going to have your way with this Grow. There it is. And then now, it's just the Indrak you have to deal with. And, oh look, the Indrak turned around and helped defend, which is what he should have done. So,
and the
this
thing
is a good battle.
too, now that you only have one flank to really worry about, despite the fact that you have overwhelming numbers and firepower, is that you're in a cruiser that is very nimble and decently armored. So it's like, even if you were forced to acknowledge any battleship's existence, you could easily circumvent his guns.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, even got a Confederate proc here.
Yep.
The only thing I don't like about the Gorizia is you don't have access to HE, but you're Italian, so you know you're giving that up. And you don't have access to torpedoes. It does not dissuade cruisers that have good torp armament from coming and engaging you in a brawl because they know they can slap you if they get a good shot on their rack.
Well, the other thing too is, um,
I don't
well,
like playing
there
tier
it is.
7s.
The other thing about not having. Go ahead.
I think it's just so bad matchmaking wise. Like this was a nice matchmaking, but usually tier 7 does not up tier well.
That's true. But the other thing about not having torpedoes is you can't dissuade battleships from just charging you and shoving. So, you give up a little bit of that forces you to be a little bit more cautious and play more of like a I got to find destroyers game as opposed to I've got to deal with the battleships kind of game. So, we didn't get a chance to look at your build because I completely forgot to do that at the start. So let's take a look. We know that you're using Sansonetti because we saw the flares. So you've got main armaments, engine room, aiming systems, and there's that steering gears. Now, instead of steering gears, he could be choosing propulsion if he's planning on kind of slowing down more and doing the speed juking game. But we saw EvilTreeSock was not doing the speed juking game. He was doing more just wiggling game. So that causes your rudder shift time to be only 7.83 seconds, which is
It has
really nice.
really good turning circle too on the ship, so I think it makes sense.
Like you are absolutely taking advantage of the fact that you are Italian, you are a very maneuverable ship, and because Gorizia doesn't have that flaw of like more like spaced and thinner armor that the higher tier Italian ships do, your armor and your angling is proving much more to your survival rather than to your detriment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For the
You don't.
I like
future. Sorry,
I
for
like
the
taking
future. It will be able to mount the engine, the smoke consumable next patch. So you can consider using that if you want to invest in the coal for it, and if you like the ship.
and that's instead of slot 3, I think, isn't it? Or is it a
Yes.
slot 2?
No, it's a slot 3. Slot 2
Okay.
would be hydro, which honestly would also make sense if you play the ship a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Because the hydro
Okay.
is so good.
All right. Mom, take care. Thanks for coming in. Good to see you. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. So let's take a look now. Here's your build. Sansonetti, of course. Incoming fire alert into consumables enhancements.
What is that build for?
I'm pretty sure that because there's only a few Italian, well, like what this, there's Napoli.
Yes,
there's
that's
not
a
too
Napoli
many.
build. That's
Yeah, that's
100% a Napoli build, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be. It has to be.
Napoli's the only thing with HE main battery.
Okay.
And even on the Napoli, I would probably not take the demo expert because the 1% doesn't really matter.
Right. You've talked about that a lot with the flags and stuff. So, superintendent, of course, the extra consumable, concealment, gun feeder, and then adrenaline rush, swift fish, because they are a little bit faster with Sansonetti. Just because he's there, they go faster. He must scare the torpedoes or something. And then top grade gunner. Now, if he didn't take demo expert, what could he take instead?
So what I would do instead of the demo expert, I would take the priority target and at the same time drop the incoming fire alert for the turret traverse.
I could see that. Yeah, especially if you're going to play up close and personal with like destroyers and stuff, having that turret traverse would really help.
The one other downside of playing a Gorizia, despite the fact that you are very maneuverable and you can use that to turn your turrets a lot quicker, the turrets themselves turn very slow, so it gives you more chances to do the precision damage you need against the things you want, because your guns do load a little slow. You're only a tier 7. You need to make your shots count.
Yep. And that's true.
If
you
you
don't
don't
need
like-
swift fish in the Gorizia because there's no torps on it.
If you're looking for, you're keeping, even for the Napoli though, I would do this. And if you don't like the priority target, you could maybe even consider taking the torpedo load.
But I think
Is
we're
that
being
the
a little
worst
harsh.
thing?
I think we are being a little harsh because A, there's only one Luigi, and B,
Mhm.
there's only a few
Yeah, no.
Italian cruisers in the game. I'm not paying money to redistribute my commander
Oh
points
no.
when I can put it on a ship I have a lot more fun with.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't. I'm talking about optimizing it for the Gorizia here. It would be a straight up optimization for the Napoli, where he's actually using it for.
I don't know what HP means, Yakadega, for 9 and 8.
I think he means the health skill.
Oh, survivability expert.
Napoli is
I
already very, very high hit points, so survivability expert doesn't do too much extra.
mean, then you're going back to something like that in order to have incoming fire alert, which I guess you could do.
If we are talking about a pure Gorizia build, I can actually see it because you
Hmm.
might not need the superintendent for the Gorizia, and you could drop that.
I like the previous one better that we had kind of highlighted, right? Which was like that. I think that makes perfect sense. So let's just go on and move to the signals. So hydro time, smoke time. I saw your smoke was lasting a very long time. Consumables, and that's about it. It's a tier 7 game. You don't want to do much else. Obviously, you didn't take debt flags, whatever. If it's a random, it's a random. You prefer last stand? I mean, you could do last stand as well, I suppose, instead of incoming fire alert. But the nice thing is, I mean, you could do both. Actually, you could do that like that. The nice thing about you, in my opinion, having some sort of knowledge that shells are coming in one way, shape, or form helps with your, just helps with your awareness of the situation. So whether that's priority target, you know how many people are targeting you, or incoming fire alert, you know that shells are inbound. I think it's nice to have some form of indicator.
Incoming
Um,
fire load is great if your ship is actually maneuverable enough to react to the incoming shells.
mhm,
And a Gorizia 100% is because it can turn so much, so you can always do a turn.
mhm.
And you have that 150 millimeter plating on your sides to where you can bounce a good chunk of those shells that are coming at you.
Yep.
It comes down to your own situational awareness, though. If you don't notice the indicator popping up,
Mhm.
and you don't notice quickly enough from where the shell is coming to, so you know where you need to maneuver, then it doesn't help you much.
Right. I mean, yeah, you could look at the enemies, but I mean, there's people behind islands that might be shooting at you. You don't know that necessarily. Um, Open water, yeah, you can look for the flashes. Sure.
You can, but like just assume if there's another ship next to you, can you really tell which ship he's shooting at?
Not only that, but you're also spending a lot of time spectating ships and not shooting your own guns. So, anyways, you did a nice job executing the destroyer there. I actually like that you turned around in a way instead of going after the enemy sub, because obviously that would have probably gotten you killed.
Another little minute detail that you got to appreciate about the Gorizia, she's faster than Zara. A knot is a knot.
Hmm. Hmm. That can come in very handy.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah. Kind of makes me want to play Gorizia more because I've only played it a few times and then just kind of said, well, I'm done. You know,
Let me check how many games I have in mind. I would be surprised if it's more than 5.
yeah,
Now,
same here.
now you got me thinking about my Napoli game. That game was, oh boy.
Uh, Year 7.
There you go.
Oh, I have actually 19 games in my Gorizia. What?
The other flank did a great job smashing through. Otherwise, being the only surviving surface ship from your side might have been tough. Yeah.
Why did I play it so much?
Mm.
Oh, I know why. There were missions
Well-
doing for the Puerto Rico event where you had to play it to get the stuff done,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because she was part of that whole thing,
Yeah.
right? So there were specific missions. All right. Well, hey, TreeSock, thanks for sending this replay in. Let's move on to the next one.